Hey guys, welcome to Aunt's Maths Club. My name is Jakina Gadura, or you can call me Mwalimu Ann. So today guys, we are still looking at the basic things, just the small formulas that we assume we know and end up failing. So today we are just going to be looking at the laws of indices. So I'm just going to take you through the laws. I'm hoping you're going to write them and you can go through them just to understand better. So yeah, so join me in today's class, laws of indices. So we see the first one, AM times AN. So technically what you need to do, remember when you've been given the same base, what you need to do, when it's a multiplication sign, you will add the powers. So it becomes AM plus N. So remember here, what you need to do, you just add the powers if you have a multiplication sign. So let's assume you've been given A5 plus times A3. So this becomes A, then 5 plus 3, that's A8. So that's basically how you do it. So now let's look at the second concept. When given AM, divide by AN. So what you need to do here, when given a division sign, what you need to do here, you just come and AM, then you subtract. So for the division sign, you always subtract N. So it's AM minus N. Let's assume like we have been given A5 divide by A3. So technically what you need to do, it becomes A, then 5 minus 3. So this is A2. So here what you've seen, when given the multiplication sign, you will add, and when given the division sign, you will subtract. So that's the first thing. Let's look further. Okay, so when given A, M, N. So what this means, you multiply the powers A, M times N. So you need to multiply them. So assume you've been given A, 3, and 4. What you need to do is A, 3 times 4. This becomes A, 12. So that is how you're supposed to do when given examples in such. Let me look for a question. I think it's just the same thing. What you've just done, A, power 3, then raised to power 4, that is A. You multiply the power 3 times 4, it becomes A12. So this you can be given a question, where you're required to use these laws of indices. So this is just the introduction and the basics of what you need to understand. So assume maybe you've been given AM divide by AN. So like we said, for the division, you less. So this becomes AM minus M. So M minus M, you remain with 0. So that's A raised to 0. Remember, any number raised to 0 equals to 1, always. I hope you've understood. So let's just assume you're given A3 divide by A3. This becomes, A3 over A3. You can do that, and by 1, A to power 3 goes 1, then goes once, and your answer is 1. Or you can actually choose to say A3 minus 3 because of the division sign, and this becomes A raised to 0 because 3 minus 3 is 0, and this becomes 1. So as you can see, using the two formulas, your answer remains to be 1. So that is the first thing that we learned today. Let's look at a different concept. So now let's look at negative indices. Assume we've been given a minus n times a n. So what you can do here, because this is a multiplication sign, it becomes a negative n, then you add. Because for multiplication we said we add, so it becomes negative n plus n. Technically, this is a negative and a positive. It becomes 0, because negative n plus n. Assume you've gone to a shop and you owe the shopkeeper 1 shilling, and then you go and pay him the 1 shilling, so your debt clears. It becomes 0, so it's a 0. A raised to 0 is 1. Any number raised to 0 is 1. Let's look at another example. Also, another concept that you need to understand: when given a raised to negative n, this is always the same as 1 over a n. I hope you've understood. A negative n is the same as 1 over a raised to n. So you remove the negative sign by bringing it down. Yep. So let's look at an example. We have a3 divided by a5. So technically what you need to do here in division, you less. So it becomes a3 minus 5. This becomes a3 minus 5 is minus 2. Instead of writing your answer as a raised to negative 2, you can choose to use this concept. It becomes 1 over a squared. Yeah, so you can choose to use this concept and leave your answer as this. So there we've looked at the negative indices, and we've seen when you're given such negative, this is how it comes. Or you can choose to use this formula: a raised to negative n is equals to 1 over a n. So, and this was an example given a3 divided by a5. It becomes a3 minus 5, which is technically a negative 2. Instead of writing that, you can choose to write 1 over a squared. Let's look now at the third concept. So we've looked at the negative indices. We've looked at the 0 indices, how the 1 comes about. So now let's look at the fractional indices. So under fractional indices, what you need to understand, the laws that you can write here. When given a 1 over n, what you need to know here, while working out a question given such, this is the same as the nth root of a. I hope you're understanding. It's the same as the nth root of a, and because here we have 1, it's the same as multiplying by 1, raised to power 1, but since it's 1, you can just leave it as n a. So this is how you need to do it. Assume now a second concept. You've been given a m over n. So what you need to do here, again, the denominator, it's the denominator's root, like the nth root now, nth root of a raised to power m. So this is how. So you need to write these two formulas and need to understand that when given such, this is the same as the nth root. The denominator comes here and then you raise it to the numerator. So let's assume we've been given an example, 27 raised to a third. So remember we said the denominator is the root form. So it's 3 of 27. So this technically becomes 3. Let's look at another example. You've been given 16 3 over 4. So this becomes, the denominator is the root here, and inside we have 16 and we have raised to 3. So when you do this inside, it gives you 2. Remember, raised to power 3, it becomes 8. The fourth root of 16 gives you 2, then raised to power 3. So this is how you need to calculate it. And now let's look at the last example. Given you've been given 4 negative a half. So what you need to do here, like I said again, instead of writing it in this form, because there's a negative sign, you can opt to remove the negative sign by bringing 1 over 4 positive a half, raised to positive a half. So we just change it. Instead of working out with such, you can choose to do this, and this becomes 1 over, remember 4 raised to a half, the denominator is the root, so of 4, which is the same as just square root like that. So for 4 this becomes 2. So technically your answer is 1 over 2. So I hope you've understood. This is just like this week we've just been looking at the the basics and the things that are very crucial, but we assume we know and end up failing. So yeah, so I'm hoping you guys have understood. We've looked at the basic laws when given multiplication sign, when given division sign. We've looked at the zero index, negative indices, and the fractional indices. So I'm hoping you guys have understood. So yeah, thank you so much for viewing, and thank you for subscribing. Bye.